I've got a question for you. I'm going to go bird watching tomorrow, let's say. I'm not really. I've
Yep.
got to go to work, but if I did, and I made a few records and saw, say, 30 or 40 species, and it was all kind of the stuff I saw last week. Um,
Yeah.
why is it important for me to submit those records?
That's a good question, and a number of people do ask that from time to time. There's a short answer and there's a long answer. The short answer is that it generates huge amounts of information and huge amounts of data from all of the members and all of the people who contribute. It's a lot of data that comes together and is of interest and great value to a whole range of different people. Um, the longer answer, it's probably easiest if I talk or sort of describe. I'll talk through the whole process, and I'll say something about you know all the different sources of where the data comes from, what we do with it, and then where it goes to, and who gets different bits of it. So we get data from we can get downloads from BirdTrack and from eBird for each year, and I've just done a big download from both of those. We get some people who write their own spreadsheets and send their spreadsheets in. Some of them are quite short, some of them are quite long. They prefer to do it that way, so they send their spreadsheets directly to us. And then, of course, there's our own website,
Mm,
and people can log the sightings on the website as well. We also have an arrangement with the London Natural History Society because we have a geographical overlap with them. Their area of interest is everywhere that's within 20 miles of St Paul's Cathedral. So for
okay.
us, that's sort of the area roughly within inside the M25. We have an overlap there. So London members who see things within that area, they send us the data, and we do the same for data that comes to us, but is in that patch as well. So we swap with them. So yeah, data comes from a whole number of different directions, and whichever direction it comes from, um, we can then also. We've just recently, within the last few months, discovered that BirdTrack is making huge developments in what they do and the system that they're putting together. And we can now do a bulk upload into BirdTrack of everything we've got, which is not already in BirdTrack. So
Oh,
what to do this year for the first year, we haven't done this before, but all the eBird data we get, all the stuff that comes directly to us, um, and the stuff that comes off of the website, we can then process that because it all comes in different formats and everybody's got different structures to the way that they do it. So part of the clever system that Andrew Duckett's putting together is massaging all of that to get it in a standard sort of format, and then we
mm,
can upload that into BirdTrack. So everything you do will get its way into BirdTrack and get to BTO one way or another.
fantastic. That's really
So
good.
some people I know have are particularly keen and have put their data in two different directions. You know, on either on our website and on eBird, or on our website and BirdTrack. You don't actually need to do that. We will get it all if on any one of those, and all of that will end up with the BTO at BirdTrack.
Okay.
Um, I was going to show, or maybe Matt, maybe you could put it
But
up.
you,
On the If you just show the records page from on our website,
website. Okay, yeah, we'll do. Hold on. Let me just get into it.
people
While I'm doing
can see.
this, actually, I was just going to say, because obviously our website,
Yeah,
there is an option. Is this what you were going to say about the duplicate sightings? Or,
yes,
yeah,
that's
okay.
exactly. Yeah.
All right, lovely.
Uh,
I'll let you do it then. So this is obviously the standard records page. You want me to go to actually as if I was going to submit some sightings, yeah?
I was just going to point out that actually part of the value of our website and what makes our website unique is that you can get day to day, literally up to date information. And looking at that page there, you can see there's today's information there. So if you're wanting to know, look at particular sites, particular locations, and what's being seen where on our website, you get detailed, up to date information on that.
Mm.
And species come up in different colours there. So the pale bellied brent, that's a scarce bird for Essex, so that comes up. That's highlighted. If you scroll down a bit, you might see the shrike
Oh,
somewhere. Nobody's put it up recently, but that, oh, there it is.
oh, there it is.
I
Yeah,
have
there
that.
you go.
The great shrike. there's a good example. That's actually one of the Essex rarities, so that comes up in blue.
Canvas back there, Tim, as well, in green.
Well, that comes up in green because it's not only an Essex rarity, it's a national rarity.
Yep. Yep.
So for the Essex rarities, when you see something, and you will get that if you log it on our website, or also if you log it on BTO for an Essex rarity, you'll get a little message that comes up prompting you to submit a description and to write a description that can then go to our ID panel for them to review. But the canvas back in green, like things such as the Wilson's phalarope that we had last year and the black-shouldered black-winged kite, they're national rarities. So for those, you should be submitting a description to the BBRC, the British. No, sorry, the what do they call themselves? The Birds Breeding. Sorry, the BBRC, the British Birds Rarities Committee. I'm getting my acronyms muddled up now. So that goes to the British Birds Rarities Committee. They make a decision on that, and then we follow whatever their decision is. Yeah. So you can on that list, but also Matt, on that list, maybe you can go to the map.
Oh, hang on.
Scroll back up.
Sorry.
Scroll back up to the top. It's just demonstrating that there's sorry on the,
the county map. You mean? Do you mean the county map?
No, where it says reports. Come down a bit.
Okay, here.
There you go. So we can see places. Yeah, well, that's demonstrating. So there's a lot of useful information, and it's really up to date. So that is something that you'll get from putting stuff on our website. The sort of service to fellow birders around the country, around the county, can see what's on a day-to-day basis.
And I think this is really good as well. If someone's just sort of starting out or just visiting the county, and they want to see, a quick glance, as you say, of the rarer stuff that's around, the stuff that's, maybe worth making a trip to try and find. You think, oh, there's a load of purple there, let's go there, or there's a whole bunch of stuff over here, let's head over this way. It's a really, and I think it's quite unique. The other platforms have got kind of similar things, but I don't think they're really specifically focusing on Essex like we do. So yeah, I think it's definitely very useful. Now we were going to look at the duplicate thing, weren't we? So I'll just pop in.
Tricky without actually putting a sighting in, but anyway, just to point out to people that if you do, when you do log your data onto our website, if you're also putting it on BirdTrack and eBird or wherever, there is a button at the end of this process that asks you if this is a duplicate, if you're putting it somewhere else. The reason for asking you to do that is it helps us then separate out, because we have a risk there. If you're putting it on our website and it's going on to BirdTrack, we might actually duplicate the record. So it helps us in processing if you're flagging up that you're actually putting it somewhere else as well.
Yeah. So I mean, what you can do, obviously, you put your date in, your start time and stop time, where you recorded from. You can pop a grid reference in, can't you? But most of the places are now kind of or most of the more popular places are preloaded in here, aren't they? So if you start typing
or if you click on the little logo to the left there, the little cross thing, you get a map. So you can actually choose your site. You can go to the map and it'll give you the grid reference.
Yeah. And as you can see, there's lots and lots of grid references on here. But if you're birding somewhere that hasn't been covered by a grid reference, you can put the grid reference in here. And I think you can call it a name as well, can't you? You can pop your own name in for it, if I remember correctly.
The key thing for us from the records point of view is the grid reference. That's the one to make sure you've got right.
Yeah.
And then you just start typing in what you've seen. So let's just say there were 10 tufted duck, and there was a great crested grebe. Oops, not a great crested grebe. Hold on. Here we go. So we're going to say great crested grebe. You just start typing, click the species, pop your count in here. So 3 of those. Then we're going to go down to the bottom.
When you go all the way through, if you go next, and then
I think
you'll get a
page
down the bottom there. There we go. So there's a button. That's the one. So if you click that, so it is a duplicate. So that tells us, and it helps us in the data processing bit, that it has gone in somewhere else, so we can manage it appropriately.
Absolutely. So what this means is, I think for people that use BirdTrack or eBird because they bird all over the place, still use that platform to keep your records in one place. We still get that data, but then if you want to let people in Essex know the key, maybe the key species or everything that you've
Yeah.
seen at
Yeah.
an Essex site, you can put it in, click the yes down the
Yeah.
bottom there, and that means that there's less work for us to do, isn't there?
Yeah.
It simplifies the process because last year, the 2020, sorry, I want to say last year, the last year that we processed, which was 2023, we actually had a spreadsheet of 384,000 lines of data.
Wow. Wow. That's phenomenal.
So
That is.
there's a lot of information there. So you can imagine that when it all comes in different formats and there's duplicates and stuff, there's a bit of work required to sort all of that out. So it does help us if you've clicked that button, please.
Okay.
The other plea while we're on the sort of data entry conversation is on the rarities. So if you do see a rarity, something that is on the Essex rarities listing, if you're not sure what they are, then you'll find that on the bird list, which is also the Essex bird list, which is also on our website. Then you will be prompted, or please submit a description and hopefully a photo as well.
Yeah,
And that then goes to the rarities panel, which is managed by Simon Wood, and they just review it. Now, some things are pretty obvious. If you've seen a hoopoe, you've probably seen a hoopoe. I don't imagine you'd confuse it with something else. But if it's one of the tricky warblers or whatever, it might need an expert view to be confident that it's So when you go through the things in bright blue, so the American widgeon, you can see green-winged teal, they would want they'll need a description. And there's an online system now for submitting that comes straight through to us. So it's very, very simple to do. It's really easy to use. Andrew Duckett's recently put that facility in place for us, which really makes life easier and hopefully takes away excuses for not doing it, which means that hopefully people will do it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, and also most people carry a camera nowadays.
Yep.
So you can get a record shot, which that would help, brief description and some photographs. Simple.
Yep. It doesn't have to be an award-winning photograph, just a photograph to support your sighting. Everything is really helpful, definitely. So, okay, so I've been out, I've recorded my sightings on eBird. I've entered the key stuff on the Essex Birdwatching Society, so anyone that looks at that is up to date. I've hit the duplicate button at the bottom and I've sent them in. You guys then kind of receive them and process them. What happens to the records then? Where do they kind of go and how are they used?
A new step this year is we're going to sift out the stuff that's not already on eBirdTrack, and we're going to do a bulk upload onto BirdTrack, so they get everything. But then the records, that massive spreadsheet of 384,000 lines of data, that then gets cut up for that is what all contributes ultimately to this. And to the writing of that. So all of the authors that are managed by Neil Sumner and the phenomenal job he does in managing, I think he's got 23 different authors that take different sections. So there'll be a section of, the falcons, somebody will look at all the falcon data for the falcons and they'll write the piece in here for them. Somebody will look at the terns, somebody will look at the finches or whatever. It's all cut up. So they work away and do that, and they write all the text and put all the information together that goes into this fabulous document. But then so where does that then go? Who gets that? Well, every member gets a copy of that automatically, because we are the recognized body for the recording of ornithological information and records for the county. We're then obliged to share that with the British Library. We also send it to the National Libraries of Wales and Scotland, with the Bodleian Library, and we share it also with more recently with local universities. So University of East Anglia, Anglia Ruskin University, Essex University, they get copies. We also send copies to the Essex Record Office in Chelmsford. And a suggestion from Jerry recently, and something we haven't done before, but we will do, is share it also with our neighbouring counties. So Cambridgeshire and Kent and what we'll share copies with them. So that's where that goes, and all the information in that. But then there are others who are interested in this stuff as well. So as I said earlier on, we've got this geographical overlap with the London Natural History Society. So we slice off the data that's in their geography, and we send that to them as well. We send information to the British Birds Rarities Committee, and we have some conversation backwards and forwards with them sometimes when they've heard about something or they haven't got sufficient data or sufficient evidence. They might come to us and say, well, what have we got anything to back it up? And then there's also something else, which is the Rare Birds Breeding Panel, and we do a big spreadsheet report for them. And what they're interested in is anything, breeding records of any species which has less than 2,000 breeding pairs in the country.
Okay.
So, and that's about, I think, that's a good couple of hundred species that could potentially be Essex. So when you are looking at, in the middle of, in May or whatever, and you're looking at a field full of avocets or whatever, noting, putting in the breeding codes, and you'll find those on BirdTrack and eBird, is really, really useful. And the number of birds you can see sitting on nests and that sort of thing is highly valuable, because that can then go to the Rare Birds Breeding Panel.
Yep.
And they're interested in that. And then the last one, but probably the most significant one, is that everything that we have gets shared with the Essex Records Partnership.
Yep.
And that is a partnership of all the different natural history interest groups throughout the county that all come together. So that includes, the bat people and the amphibians and the lepidopterists and the botanists and everybody all put all of their data together within the Records Partnership, which is managed by the Essex Field Club based at Wat Tyler.
Yep.
So there is one central place within the county for all of this natural history records and data. And the big value of that is that environmental consultants and people, when they're looking to do environmental impact assessments or wanting to understand what species and what have you might be in particular areas, they go to the Essex Record Partnership and they can get all the information from them. So that feeds into the whole planning and development processes, and people can see what's in particular areas and what may be sensitive. So that's hugely valuable to that whole area. So there's lots of different people who are interested in this information for all sorts of different reasons at all sorts of different levels, whether it's academics at one end or whether it's town planners at the other end. And then we also get all sorts of odd questions. In the last couple of months, I've been asked things like, somebody was wanting to write an article on Russian common terns. So that's the Russian race. Sorry, not common terns, common gulls, Russian common gulls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What records did we have of Russian common gull?
Wow.
Very, very little, not surprising. But anyway, I could share with him what we did have. And I also got asked recently, actually it was Mark Nowes from RSPB, who asked me, what records do we have of large counts of linnets? There's a farm that, and some of you, I know you guys are aware of, Bollington Farm in Bocking, just north of Braintree, where there was recently a count of 3,600 linnets. Phenomenal number. So Mark said, how does that stand in terms of the records in Essex? And so we've been able to look back, and it's way beyond anything that's been recorded before. Over the years, from time to time, there have been records of 1,000 and 1,500, very occasionally up to 2,000. But so that number, and also the geography, most of what's been seen before is around the coast. And somebody else approached us. I couldn't do anything about that one, but somebody else said, what records do we have of birds at any bird records for Abberton in the 1950s and 60s? Well, couldn't answer that one at the moment. Hopefully, once Sandra's wonderful system is up and running and we can take our old all our paper data that's still on paper, we can get that uploaded. We could even be able to answer questions like that.
Wow.
So
Brilliant.
there's random questions that come up, all sorts of different people interested for different reasons, but we can't do that if the information is not being fed into the system at the front end. So
absolutely. It all starts with people like us and like you guys watching out there, going out with your binoculars and your pen and paper or your phone and your app, however you want to do it, and then getting that information to us. So it is so important. But very briefly coming back to the farm at Bovington, to be fair, with the linnets, that information, it could be right. This has worked, so that what they're doing over there to manage their land for wildlife, this
Yep.
is absolutely hard proof that it works. So anyone
Yep.
else interested in doing it or wanting to be encouraged to do it, you can say, here's the evidence. It's a record count of linnet in the county. It's incredible work, incredible. Yeah.
Yep.
And let's not forget, this is what the society was created for in the first place. When the
Yep.
society was created in 1949, it was to be for the home of record keeping.
Yes.
So it's right at the heart of what we do and why we exist.
100%. Excellent. Are there any questions for Tim in the chat?
Let's have a look, Matt. No.
That means you've covered it all, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I say I've been recording birds within the society or within the county for, I don't know, 30 years or something like that. And yeah, you're right. It's so important. What this all your information is valuable. It's just and like you say, when you look at the bird report, we know what's involved, what goes into it, but when you break it down like that, Tim, it just open up the eyes for everyone else. So well done for doing that.
Yeah, that's the thing at the moment that there's so much talk about nature is in decline, species are in decline, turtle doves, nightingales, and there's work being done, particularly with turtle doves is a great example. Mark and the whole team behind the turtle dove recovery in the UK and further afield are doing lots of work, but we only know that those species are in decline because of the data. Otherwise, we'd just be going, when did you last see a turtle dove? Don't know. Okay.
This is essential stuff that feeds into what the BTO does. And so their trend analysis is based on this massive bulk data, which comes from individuals putting in lots and lots of information. So them being able to see what's happening to chaffinches over recent years, they will be seeing that, and they will be able to the declines and rises of different, even the common everyday species, whether that's what's happening to chaffinches or house sparrows or whatever. It's not all about goshawks and peregrines and the big spectacular stuff.
And I guess it's trying to nip it in the bud before it becomes, a huge problem. You might be able to see that early pattern happening and do something about it earlier. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, Mark Nowers is watching tonight. He said regarding the linnets at Bovington Farm, the head of agricultural advice for the RSPB had never heard of a flock that size.
Wow.
So that is pretty impressive. And Colin Andrew said that was fascinating, Tim. For those not watching, an article, he said maybe an article explaining that maybe in Essex birding would be very useful.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. It was actually, as I was thinking about what the conversation this evening, I was thinking maybe I should write an article for this, and then I can share with you all this lovely diagram that I've done.
Oh,
we love a diagram
process.
Yeah. I love a flow chart. Fantastic.
Showing my science and engineering background, that I love to do things like that.
Yeah, lots of graphs and pie charts and stuff, please. That'd be wonderful.
Good. Mark's just said the fine old adage: the bluntest pencil is better than the sharpest mind.
Oh, I like that.
Good.
Right. What is he? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then David,
can you let us know what you're drinking, please, Mark?
Yeah, he's free on that hard stuff again from his local pub.
I'm drinking.
And then David got said, hats off to everyone involved with the records and how they're used. Keep recording your sightings, everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you very much, Tim. You're doing some superb work, and it's obviously you and the rest of the team. Andrew, Neil, and all the guys, all the sub editors, and everyone that collates all the information, and obviously everyone out there that does actually submit their records. Thank you so much. Please keep doing it, and it gives you another excuse to get out birding, as if you need one. So go and do some birding and submit some more records, please.
Yeah, put it on our website. Let's see what you go out tomorrow, go out any day, and enter it on our website so you can see what's happening.